A wonderful Saturday it is, and welcome to the Joy Sports Link here on Joy 99.7 FM. We're live streaming on the Facebook page, Joy 997 FM. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I'm glad to be with you. We're doing this between now and the top of the hour, 2 p.m. Of course, this is a very, very interactive show, and that's the reason why this one has to be at your fingertips. It's 0244340437, 0244340437, and also all of our pages, Joy 997 FM on Facebook, Joy Sports on Facebook, and the rest of it. So today we're doing a boxing concentrated discussion for very obvious reasons. So Ghana is on the verge of waking up to the news of a new world champion in boxing. But first, Ghana's Richard Commey has to effectively see off the challenge being posed him by Isa Chaniev of Russia. This is Richard Commey's second attempt at the IBF lightweight title, and this, to a very large extent, is seen as a final chance for him, even though it's attempt number 2. How does he ensure this? How does he get this done in faraway Texas, USA later tonight? We do all of the discussions right here. Of course, later in the show as well, Kumasi Asante Kotoko are there in the group stage of the CAF Confederation Cup. The action begins from Sudan, where Kotoko are playing away against Al Hilal. And of course, we'll be doing all of the analysis right here and looking ahead to how Kotoko can maintain their 3-point performances in the CAF Confederation Cup. My name is Nathaniel Atto once again. Thank you very much for joining us here on the show.
I love it. It's Vim on the beat.
Joining us in studio to do the discussions is a former spokesperson of the Ghana Boxing Authority, Mohamed Amin Lamte. Also, Atta Eddie Papo is an international WBC judge. Hans Mensa Andor is a broadcast journalist, Joy Sports. Joining us on phone will be former IBF bantamweight champion Joseph Agbeko the King Kong. What does Richard Commey have to do? Well, the man who's been there before and seen it all before will be offering advice on phone. You are also very much welcome. Send in your thoughts to 0244340437 on WhatsApp. And also, you could just go on our Facebook pages. You're going to see the topic. We'll be glad to have your comments as well. And of course, anytime you hear this signature tune, you know that we are about to preach a sporting sermon. So, beloved in sport, once again, I'm thanking the good Lord for bringing us together on this platform called the Joy Sports Link for the discussion of critical issues that affect the sports sector. Now, we have come from a week of drama on the political front as violence marred the beauty of a process which, Ghana has recently gained global admiration for. I'm talking about elections. So it almost marred the beauty of this by-election. So the unfortunate incidents at the Bawalishi School Park brought to my attention something that we have unconsciously turned a blind eye on. Beloved in sport, did you see the men with imposing physiques as well as conspicuously carved muscle in those videos that emerged from the episodes of violence? I'm sure all of your answers are one very big yes. So, my next question then is, how many medals has Ghana won in the sport of weightlifting at the Olympic and Commonwealth Games? Now, is Ghana the biggest nation when it comes to powerlifting, which is a known offshoot of weightlifting? How many medals has Ghana won in short put at the Olympic Games and Commonwealth Games? And at least Ghana has produced 8 boxing world champions, but none in the heavyweight division. So with my sporting eye, I watched those videos in disappointment as energy was being wasted in retrogressing our society and writing ill precedents. Now, I remember very well when my friends in the sport of bodybuilding started fighting the tag that society had given them, and that tag was that infamous macho men tag. They have tried very hard to separate their identity and the sport from the proverbial macho men who are known to terrorize people, act as land guards, and all the others. Security is a very important aspect of our national lives and must be treated as such, but not abused. So my dear vigilante or so-called national security operative, start channeling your energy well, because sports can provide a bigger platform for the profitable use of your energy, which will give you bigger fulfillment and economic freedom. I say all of this because we all know the very meager amounts of money you receive for putting up such unacceptable behavior. We are here in Ghana, and we're here in Ghana, and we have hundreds of men who have the required physical build to compete favorably in these sporting disciplines, but sadly are wasting away promoting violence and pushing for instability. Where are we going as a nation? So we have left the Olympic and Commonwealth medals, the money and the international fame and recognition for other countries like Russia, the USA, and others in South America to amass. The medals are going away to these countries. We are wasting talents, beloved in sport. We are wasting talents. Do you know that arm wrestling, which features prominently in our folklore, is now an organized sport? Through the instrumentality of my good friend and colleague Charles Osei-Sibe, Ghana has an arm wrestling federation and also recently held the African Congress and Championship right here. So dear Mr. Ben Nunu Mensah, President of the Ghana Weightlifting Federation, you need to start a recruitment drive as early as possible, because the talent pool we have in this country is way more than you can imagine. The message goes to all other sporting federation heads for disciplines that require extra contact, energy, and conditioning. Finally, let me commend Youth and Sports Minister Isaac Kwame Siama for all of the work done so far with the construction of youth and sports resource centers across the country. Well, I look forward to their completion and eventual use to ease the percentage of our sports infrastructure problems. I have seen Honorable Isaac Siama constantly inspect these facilities and put what I see as pressure on the contractors to finish the work on schedule. Way to go, Honorable Minister. However, my feedback for now is that the Trust Sports Emporium, which houses the Bukom Boxing Arena, is incomplete. So, Honorable Minister, please do use your office and influence to ensure that this facility, the Bukom Boxing Arena, inside the Trust Sports Emporium as a whole facility, is completed. Now, I imagine the day when the gym in the Emporium will accommodate and train all of these so-called national security operatives and get them ready for big competitions in sporting disciplines like heavyweight boxing, weightlifting, short put, and even the WWE. Yes, wrestling. Have you seen the millions being generated in the wrestling industry outside of here? We all hail the Brock Lesnars, the John Cenas, the Cedric Alexanders and the Braun Strowmans of this world. Beloved in sport, if we channel our energies well and help these young men channel theirs well, Ghanaian names can replace these names in the WWE. And of course, instead of covering and hiding their faces in masks, they will rather have thousands approach them for pictures and autographs as Ghanaian-born global sporting icons. And now may they who have the influence and the interest of Ghana sport at heart listen and act accordingly. Amen. And now shall we start the Joy Sports Link. We're still here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. My name is Nathaniel Atto. And of course, we're doing a boxing discussion today. We're doing a bit of football as well. Richard Commey is up for the IBF's lightweight title. It's happening against Isa Chaniev of Russia, and it's happening all the way in Texas, USA, later tonight. We're going to have a full panel here in studio. Of course, IBF, former IBF bantamweight champion Joseph Agbeku, the King Kong, will be joining us on phone. Of course, Kumasi Asante Kotoko are away in Sudan, looking forward to start off their group phase campaign of the ongoing CAF Confederation Cup in a very big way. How do they ensure this? We're doing all of those discussions right here. The show is very interactive and big on your views, the reason why we'd love to have you involved. But for now, let's take a look at what's happening this weekend in Europe with our partners, the BBC.
Thanks for your time this weekend, and with the transfer window firmly shut, should be a good time to discuss the aftermath. So, Manchester United first, and caretaker manager Ole Gunnar Solskjaer insisted they did not need to sign. Is the squad good enough, though, to make the top four, win the FA Cup and push further in the Champions League?
Well, it's very interesting, isn't it, George? As you said, they didn't have any players coming in. They had one of the most high-profile players leaving before the transfer deadline day shut. That was Marion Fellaini. He left after 4 years at Old Trafford. He went to play in China. He wasn't really in Ole Gunnar Solskjaer's plans, was it? That was evident since Solskjaer took over in the middle of December. But you mentioned their form. Despite that draw in midweek in the English Premier League, I think Manchester United still really are the informed side in the Premier League at the moment, aren't they? And they obviously had that great win over Arsenal in the last round of the FA Cup, and in February the Champions League, the European Champions League to come, as you say, against PSG. That's their match in the last 16. And I think when the draw was made for the Champions League back in December, PSG thought that was a fair tie, but that was the Manchester United playing under Jose Mourinho. This Manchester United side are a very different proposition, aren't they? And also the news coming in midweek that Neymar, PSG's star player, will be missing for that last 16 tie. He's suffered a recurrence of a broken bone in his right foot, so that's a big blow for the French champions. I think they'll find it very tough against Manchester United. So really, I think, yes, certainly progressing into the last 8 of the Champions League, that's certainly a doable target for Manchester United, and I think they'll certainly be targeting a domestic trophy as well in the FA Cup, and indeed they look on course for a top 4 finish, particularly with Chelsea slipping up in midweek in the Premier League. So I think certainly at the moment the fans are optimistic that they could challenge on all 3 fronts, certainly.
Chelsea have Higuain and will be expecting to power on from here. But recent outbursts from Mauricio Sarri, although brutally blunt, may not be going down well with the Chelsea men, who have a rich history of disloyalty to managers who tread this path. Is Sarri safe?
Very interesting, George. You're right. We were talking about this week in the office. Maurizio Sarri's gone very early, hasn't he? Speaking very openly about his players, criticising them. He keeps saying that he can't motivate them. He said that again after the defeat midweek to Bournemouth. And really, when you go so early as he has done, what now can he do to motivate these players? He says it's difficult to motivate them, but when you look at some of the players he's got in that dressing room, he's got World Cup winners, he's got Premier League winners, he's got FA Cup winners. So these are professional players who have competed at the very top of their game. So it's very interesting that he's saying he's finding it hard to motivate them. We've seen bigger managers than Maurizio Sarri be pushed out of the dressing room at Chelsea, notably Jose Mourinho when the players turned against him. And I think Sarri could find it very, very difficult if he doesn't win a trophy at Stamford Bridge this season.
Arsenal and Manchester City clash in what's expected to be the headliner of the English Premier League this weekend. Arsenal hope to keep tabs on the possible push for top 4 place. How much pressure though is on Arsenal, considering United will be hoping they slip?
Yes, Arsenal have been very unpredictable, haven't they, in the last couple of weeks. They've obviously lost games that we were expecting them to win and won games that we weren't expecting them to win. Certainly, for example, that result against Chelsea, which I don't think we're expecting on form from recent games before that. And I think Arsenal, really under Unai Emery, they were targeting a top 4 finish when he took over at the beginning of the season, weren't they? When you look at that table now, they're in 4th place just on goal difference. They're level on points with Chelsea, but just ahead of them on goal difference. With Manchester United just 2 points behind. And as we say, if results go United's way this weekend, they could leapfrog both those sides and go into the top 4. So I think Arsenal are under a certain amount of pressure. I think when you consider the 2 sides at the moment, Manchester United are on current form the favourites to claim that top 4 finish.
Talk of the top 4, and Tottenham Hotspur, with the tall injury list, are in danger of losing more games, especially after exiting 2 key competitions. Can Newcastle take advantage of the situation?
Well, Newcastle fans will be in great spirits at the moment. They obviously had that fantastic win over Manchester City on Tuesday night in the English Premier League. And for the first time in recent seasons, certainly, their manager, Rafa Benitez, was given some money to spend in the January transfer window. They actually made the biggest transfer on transfer deadline day in the Premier League, bringing in a promising Paraguay international. So we'll see how that works for them and how he fits into their team. But I think Tottenham, again, for the second successive transfer window, didn't sign any players at all. And as you mentioned, they are missing 2 of their key players in Harry Kane and Dele Alli until the beginning of March at least. So I think Tottenham fans will be wondering perhaps if they should have signed someone in the window to try and get their season back on track. You mentioned those 2 domestic cup competitions that they're out of now, but they still really are in a good place in the Premier League. Maurizio Pochettino has made no secret of his targets for a top 4 finish this season, again for qualification for the Champions League next season. And actually, if results go their way, they could finish the weekend in 2nd place above Manchester City. So perhaps things not quite as bad as Tottenham as people are perhaps making out.
Finally, which games would you be keen on watching aside those involved in the Big 6, and why?
Well, I think there's a couple of crucial matches at the bottom of the Premier League, aren't there? Particularly on Saturday. 2 stand out for me. Burnley against Southampton and Crystal Palace against Fulham. Burnley, well, they've gone on a run of really good results, haven't they, in the last couple of weeks to move themselves out of trouble. Crystal Palace as well, they've had some great results, haven't they? They obviously flying high after that win over Tottenham in the FA Cup as well last weekend, so hoping perhaps to build on that. But Fulham, well, they're really, really struggling, aren't they, for points at the moment. And Southampton as well, they're only just outside the relegation zone. And you look at the other teams down at the bottom. Jan Siewert's obviously taken over at Huddersfield Town, but is yet really to make an impact. He hasn't had that bounce that you hope from new managers, certainly when you take over at a club. And they've got a very, very tough match, haven't they, against Chelsea on Saturday afternoon.
All right. So we'll be keeping tabs then, of course. Remember, you'd have to follow the Joy Sports Arena tomorrow afternoon. And, of course, there's a lot to look forward to. Updates from English Premier League. Christian Atsu started for Newcastle, who are playing away to Tottenham Hotspurs. It's Tottenham Hotspurs 0, Newcastle 0. 6 minutes played so far. All right, so let's get down to the boxing. But before we get into that, remember that we're looking ahead to the maiden edition of the Kids Olympics brought to you by Joy 99.7 FM and Joy Sports. And of course, we are looking forward to unearthing the next set of stars all over the world, sporting stars. and of course, Ridwan Ibrahim Asante is project lead, assisting editor Joy Sports as well, and he's going to be telling us what's been happening in the last week and what we should be looking forward to as well. Ridwan, good to have you here. You're going to wear two caps because Ridwan is also an international television boxing commentator, done several international boxing tournaments on Super Sport. So, Ridwan, good to have you here.
Thank you.
Okay, unfortunately, we're not doing boxing at the Kids Olympics yet.
Yeah. Not now. Not yet.
Yeah, sure. All right, tell me, what's been happening in terms of organization and the level of interest shown so far?
So coming Saturday will be the start. That will be the first Saturday, and athletics is going to start. Open the whole multi-sport competition for kids between 5 and 12 years. So we will be closing registration on Wednesday for athletics. We have entries coming in, registration forms have been submitted to us, and we're taking note of the details, the year brackets, and also the events on the day. Based on what we have, then we can decide on what to do with the track events. Mostly, that's what everybody wants to see. We are very excited, about the turnout. We are also happy with the interest from parents and from kids, and the calls are coming in. You still have to test your mettle. This is a competition for everybody on a fair, playing field. You don't have to be a seasoned person to be there, or a kid, who started. If you believe in yourself that you can run, 100 meters, you can do 50 meters or 60 meters, then you just have to tell your parents to visit our website and then fill a form. It will automatically be sent to us, it will get to us, and then from there we can also get down your details.
And of course, outside the website, you can also buy a copy of the junior graphic. There's a copy of the form in. When you fill it, there are two numbers on the form. You can take a picture of it and then you send it to us on the numbers on WhatsApp. Or you can send us an email with a scanned copy. That's kids@myjoyonline.com. kids@myjoyonline.com. Alternatively, you can come here at Joy FM maybe this weekend, pick a form, fill it, state the discipline. But we want more. Athletics should be major. So we want to hear or we want to receive more, forms from kids interested in athletics. That's basically the field events, and then we will then put them together and inform parents when where to meet, and then how to get the competition reason, the things to come along with. All right, thank you very much, Ridwan Ibrahim Asante. Looking ahead to that one, Ridwan is the project lead on the Kids Olympics, and of course, next weekend it surely is going to be fireworks. I'm looking forward to it a great deal. So here with me in studio, for starters, also is Mohammed Amin Lamte. Mohammed Amin Lamte is a lecturer. He's also the former immediate past spokesperson of the Ghana Boxing Authority. We'll be discussing Richard Comey and his second attempt at the IBF lightweight title. He goes up against Isa Chaniev, and this is not the first time he's going up against Russian opposition. How well is he going to perform? Well, the analysis is all here. We'll be joined in a bit by Ata Eddie Papo, a WBC international judge, and also Hans Mensa Andor of Joy Sports. Ridwan will also be chipping in as we go along. Joining us on phone, as I mentioned earlier, is the man King Kong Joseph Agbeko.
Hi.
Soon to be Sheikh. Good to have you here in the studio.
I've been, I'm happy Ridwan is here. Ridwan himself and his colleagues those days at today I need to let it out. It was Kwame Anani who brought about this Sheikh issue, because one day on his show, because I run shows on Saturday, he runs on Sunday. So I appeared on his program, and then I was wearing a long dress, we call it jalabia, and the moment I saw that in his introduction, he just mentioned Sheikh. That's it. So We thank Allah for it.
Yes,
when
sure.
when that title is given to you, Ridwan knows the weight behind it. But we thank Allah for it.
Yeah, the weight will come. Don't worry.
He's the only sheikh. He's the only sheikh with one wife.
Anyway, all right. So, gentlemen, thanks for your time. Richard Comey, he has fought a long, hard battle to get up here. What strikes you about Richard Comey's story, first of all?
No, for me, I think that I'm excited about Richard Comey because myself and you were part of his antecedent, because I remember his very first professional bout was at the, Prison's Canteen at
Very
Hosu.
well.
I
Sure.
remember I was in the center of the ring, and then after the fight, I spoke to his trainer at that time. That was Kaloko. Told him this guy is really going to be a well better. So at any given time, Kaloko would talk to me and said, you said, I said, no, sometimes some good beginnings make good ending. I saw him in the ring. If you look at his ring craftsmanship, if you look at his demeanor in the ring, his seriousness, his commitment, I said, look, this is a guy to watch. So it wasn't surprised that he started as a national champ. He became African champ. He became Commonwealth champ. And then he had a chance. He was very fortunate that Bediako came into his life very, very early. So being a disciplined boxer.
And by Bediako, you mean Michael Amu Bediako, his manager?
Bediako, exactly.
Very well.
He very committed, very disciplined, and he knows how to communicate. So fortunately, he was picked to the UK. So he had a chance of fighting with Ghanaian boxers, fighting with South African boxers, boxers from UK, boxers from the United States, and what have you. So for me, he has really gone through the mill. As you were saying, I think this is about a third boxer that is going to fight, boxer coming from Russia. So he understands their demeanor, he understands the way they go about things and what have you. So I think that I'm in to see, Richard Comey trying to take it this time around. He had a chance the last time. For me, I still believe that his fight against Esther, for me, it was a stolen verdict. Anybody who won that fight knew that Richard won the fight. But I actually appreciated his composure, even when he knew he was robbed. He never came out to make any unguided statement. That is one aspect of boxing. When a boxer knows how to talk, even after losing a fight, you make the boxing fans excited about you. So the chance has come with 27 fights, with just 2 defeats and almost about 24 KOs. I think this is very, very impressive. If you look at the opponent that he fought, you can clearly see that this is the moment for Ghana. This is the moment for, Richard Comey.
This is the moment for Ghana. This is the moment for Richard Comey. I don't know what you out there think. You can also express your thoughts via the WhatsApp platform 0244-340-437. You can also just post on our Facebook stream, the live Facebook stream. So just join the Joy FM wall, and we'll be glad to have your comments there. In a bit, we'll be listening to what Michael Amu Bediako, his manager, had to say ahead of the fight a few hours ago. And also, we'll be taking the thoughts of others who have also seen Richard Comey rise from that stage. Isn't it interesting, that Richard Comey started as a kickboxer?
Very well. Not as I indicated earlier. You see, sometimes in life you need to understand yourself. Sometimes you need to listen to yourself and then believe that God has given you a talent. When you know you have a talent, you need to help to grow that talent. Yes, he was a kickboxer before he crossed, sport to boxing. When he got to boxing, realized that with that kind of combative nature of kickboxing, where you can use so many things, and then he believed that the moment to get into the limelight is through boxing. For me, I think that, as I said, from the word go, he started very, very well. Even as you said, when he came into professional boxing, there was no any day that you see that element of unprofessionalism, because you need to have someone who has gone through the mill as an amateur boxer. But there's a guy who started somewhere, got into kickboxing, and then revert back to boxing. But you will never see that trace of unprofessionalism. There is no erratic punches and what have you. Everything was good because of the trainer, because the man who was then training him was a very solid person, talking about Kaloko. So, the artistry, the things that he needs to do in the ring were somehow okay. So when he grew to a point, when Bediako came into the picture, he had a chance of traveling to UK. He went and stayed there for almost a year or so. He had a feel of their facility. You know, he was given the support, he was given the motivation, he met the right people who gave him the right chemistry, and then before he moved to the United States. So you see, he's a guy who, for me, I think is a lucky guy. He's a lucky guy because he actually got the right people handling him. Because he's the guy whom you know have him coming to Ghana to have his own way, just like other boxers. There are people who are always on him, guiding him, correcting him, making sure they guide him, tell him what to do and not what to do. So that is why you can easily sit here in Ghana and predict that this fight is really, it will go to, you know, Richard Comey, because his fight against Robert Esther, if that fight will be translated into this very fight, I don't think that Isaac can really stand the might of Richard Comey. Yes, Isaac very credible opponent with very strong chain, 14 fight, just one defeat. Okay, he has also done a lot, but just about 6 KOs, and the Richard with 24 KOs. So for me, I think that I'm excited because I'm having a feeling. My instinct is telling me that this fight,
is the time.
This fight could end prematurely.
Okay.
I'm not really seeing. I'm not seeing this fight going to the distance, because if you want to look at, the hefty punches of
when the Sheikh
Comey,
speaks, it has to be final. The Sheikh being
Nat,
groomed.
I think my colleague is nodding the head. You see, sometimes if you look at what he has done in the past, Nat, and look at the record of Issa. You know, yes, Issa, boxers from Russia and Cuba, you know, they take their time to get themselves grilled at the amateur level before they get to professional level. Yes, accepted. But in this regard, in this instance, I think Richard Comey, with the experience and what he has shown so far, I don't think this fight is going to end to the distance. It's going to end prematurely.
Okay, Mohamed Amin Lamte, the experienced communicator in boxing, says that he does not see this fight going the full 12 rounds, the full distance, and he has that conviction that Richard Comey will end this fight through a knockout. I don't know what you also think. Just get on myjoyonline.com, look at the Joy Sports preview which I put together, where I'm asking, is this the final chance for Richard Comey, the IBF lightweight title? Just go over there, click and read that story. Let's get into this discussion. Also here with us in the studio, Ata Eddie Papo, WBC international judge he's highly respected across the continent and across the world. Also, Hans Mensah Andor, his main shows are football related, but his first love is boxing. Hans Mensah Andor of Joy Sports. Gentlemen, welcome once again. Thank you for your time. Yeah, sure. Now, let me come to you, Hans. What is the danger that comes with seeing boxers with less fight experience as the weaker opponent? Because Isaac Dogboe was with lesser fight experience as he went up against Jesse Magdaleno, and he won it.
Yeah. I think that you know what they say about statistics. You know, you really need to strip it bare to be able to use it to do a proper analysis. In boxing, it's not so much about the number of opponents as it is about the quality of opponents. I.e., if I have the fight of my opponent and you know the quality of the opponent that I've come up against in those few fights that I've had are better than the number of opponents that you've come up against, you need to really take a critical look and be careful. And we've seen it. We've seen several boxers who have come up against cracking opponents in fewer fights, and boxers with huge numbers. But you look at the quality of opponent that they've come up against, and you realize that he's had very easy fights. Okay,
but in Richard Comey's case, Richard Comey has fought tough people.
Absolutely.
In fact, he's gone into what we describe in boxing terms as rough terrains.
Absolutely.
I mean, when he went up against Denis Shafikov, for instance, many people criticized him for it. You lost the fight against Robert Easter Jr., and then you decide to go for an eliminator in Russia against a Russian.
Absolutely. See, the thing that I've come to love about Richard Comey is that he doesn't shy away from a challenge. He's not the typical modern day boxer who picks and chooses fights that we see with a lot of fighters these days. I mean, when you throw a challenge, you take it. I think that the Shafikov fight was a fight that Comey wasn't in the right frame of mind. I've watched the fight over and over again, and there was something a bit off about it. I think that he was still reeling from that defeat against Robert Easter Jr., and so he wasn't in the right place. And even then, we all know that he probably should have won that fight also. You mentioned that Comey has gone through the rough. You look at his fight record, 27, 24 KOs. It speaks of a boxer who goes in there to give everything that he has, and that accounts for the high number of KOs that he's got on his fight record. My only worry, and the irony is that in going into this fight, it's not actually a worry, has always been his lack of a defensive side. But going into this fight, I actually think that is a strength, because he has an opponent that he has to go in there with a single mentality. I need to go in there and knock him out. Simple. I've watched Chaniev. He looks a decent boxer. He wants to punch and move and be slick and all of that. No disrespect to him, I don't think that he's a world champion material. And my senior colleague here mentioned that if Comey goes in there and fights the way he fought Robert Easter Jr., there is no way, absolutely no way, that Issa Chaniev is going to snatch victory from Richard Comey.
Okay.
And now, so the mentality is really simple going into this fight. He has to go in there and look for the knockout because he can get it.
All right. Fedor Papazov is the only boxer, his compatriot, who has given Issa Chaniev a loss. Now, there were issues around that loss, in that Fedor Papazov had issues with, anti-doping testing, and eventually after the fight there was post-fight testing as well, and there were some irregularities. So because of that bout, which was supposed to be an IBF eliminator, was not recognized officially by the IBF. That's what we're told. So Issa Chaniev going into this fight thinks that he's an undefeated boxer.
Okay,
that is number one. But this is why I bring in Atai Edipapo. Issa Chaniev, I realize, is somebody who likes to work on the body a lot. Now, is that something Richard Comey has to be worried about? I know Richard can open himself up for any amount of punches. He demonstrated that against, but how dangerous is that particular practice in the ring?
Well, first of all, let me say, it's always great to be on Joy. Back on Joy again. I disagree with the earlier assessment by my colleague that Richard needs a knockout to win this fight. These guys you see out there, they are very rugged, very tough, and guys who have been through the mill. When I say guys who have been through the mill, that guy is a boxer who's done hundreds of fights as an amateur. So when you see the record on paper, it looks like a mismatch. Richard having 27-2-0, and Issa Chaniev. It's not Issa, it's Issa. If you say Issa, it means it's a knockdown. It's Issa Chaniev.
Thanks for the correction.
No, the point is that most of these Russians are Muslims.
Yeah, no.
So it could be Issa.
Yeah.
That is Jesus.
I've heard the Americans pronounce Issa, and I thought that it's because of the American pronunciation.
Yeah.
Exactly. I've heard others also, pronounce Issa Chaniev all this one. So,
Isa. Let's go with Isa. The ball is going to be staged in America anyway.
No, since we have a Muslim here, let's go for Isa. You have an allergy in the studio.
Either way.
Yeah. I was saying on paper it looks a mismatch. Having Chaniev 13 fights, 1-0 with 6 KOs. But different boxers make different fights. I keep saying this all the time, and I think it's going to be a very, very, very tough fight tonight for Richard Comey. Richard has a lot of pride. He's well disciplined, and I think if he should take the fight tonight and win convincingly. Now, this fight is going to be fought on a neutral grounds.
Sure.
The other fight was fought in Russia. The other one was fought in the US. Giving the impression that some boxers had home support and stuff. But this time the fight is taken away from Russia. It's taken away from Ghana. It's not going to be fighting. The fight is not going to be in England. It's going to be in Texas. And I think it's a neutral grounds for both boxers. Now, what I'm worried about is Comey really prepared for war? If they happen to get to toe-to-toe, I think the Chaniev is going to have the advantage.
Why?
You know, fighting inside, if you watch his other fights, he fights very well inside. Taking the fact that Comey is much bigger than Chaniev, he's taller, you know, when you talk about the reach department and then the height department and all that. But when he went for the weigh-in yesterday, I think he tipped the scale at Comey tipped the scale at 134.3.
Okay.
And Chaniev tipped the scale at 134.6. Now the maximum weight for them is 135 pounds.
Yeah.
Right. So it gives you a true picture that these boxers are really prepared to go for war. And I think it's going to be real war tonight. Comey has got to prove to the world that he wasn't robbed. You know, in his previous fight. Yeah, that's right.
That he was robbed in his previous fight.
That's right.
Sure.
You know, so it's got to give fans, especially us Ghanaians, that, you know, we need a 10th world champion in Ghana.
Okay.
If he should win.
Okay.
I thought he mentioned something real quick. He mentions that it is going to be a war out there. And that is why I think that myself and Amin thinks it plays in the hands of Richard Comey, because that is his style. He's not a very technical boxer who wants to score points, you know, and you know, win on the scorecards.
He goes with his strength.
Exactly. It is telling that the two fights that he's lost were split decisions. He's simply somehow not able to win on the scorecards. You understand me? And so if it becomes a war, I think that it plays straight into the hands of Richard Comey. I think that physically, from all I've watched from, you know, Chaniev, I think that, with all due respect, physically Richard Comey is in a much better shape. He's stronger, you know. Where I think that he has an edge is his accuracy, where he wants to punch and he wants to move. But if Richard Comey goes in and fights as you know, Marcos Maidana did against Floyd Mayweather, and, you know, goes in and doesn't box, he goes in to actually make it a fight, make it a brawl, I think that he's going to carry the day. I don't think that, you know, if it comes to really going at each other, Chaniev is going to stand a chance. I don't think he can fight at a high intensity rate.
You know,
right.
The reason why I'm really on the same page with Hans is that I really agree with Tataidi that we should not take things for granted here. You see, I've watched Richard several times. He's not a type that has the flamboyant when it comes to, you know, dexterity, where you can say that when it comes to Floyd Mayweather, he's good. When it comes to defense, when it comes to
style,
exactly,
and entertainment,
exactly. So the Richard, no, look at his background. You've given us his background. He's a chap who is coming from, you know, kickboxing. So he's a guy who is having a very strong chain. And the problem that was identified by Hans is very interesting. That is his defense. Sometimes he let out, he's open up too much. But when it gets to the infighting, that is exactly what Ataya did. That is my problem now. You shouldn't allow infighting.
Alaji is up with a different corner now.
Exactly.
Let's see if there's
exactly. Maybe there will be some kind of variation, because when it gets to infighting, you see, these Russians and Cubans are too durable. When they get in with you, they can deliver more than 10 punches within a twinkle of an eye. So can you also get back? So that is where I'm saying that Richard should just go in, just try to replicate what he did against Esther. That's it.
Absolutely.
He will stop him.
We're going to fight with different game plans. If you tried plan 1 doesn't work, you opt for plan 2.
Okay.
If it doesn't work, you go for plan 3. This is exactly what I expect to happen in his corner, Rich's corner today. I mean, going into the fight as a favorite, as a heavy overdog, it's another booster.
Very true.
It's another booster.
And I'm happy with his demeanor at the presser yesterday. You know, the way he spoke. I mean, if you look at his demeanor, his body language, he was very calm. There was no pressure. Because now, Richard cannot tell us that he's suffering from, stage fright.
No.
You know, he's conversant with the terrain now. He has acclimatized. It's not like he's now going, no. So these are some of the pluses that can easily...
He has a lot of plus, actually.
Exactly.
Look, going into this fight, I think that the crowd are going to get behind him because of that performance against Robert Easter Jr. A lot of people actually felt that he won the fight. I think that, yes, he won, but he also handed the fight to Robert Easter in his failure to manage the fight at a certain point.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. It's very, very important that a boxer must realize when to manage a fight. There were moments in the fight against Easter that he probably should have been moving around and not engage, just to round out the clock or anything. But, also you have to respect the fact that as a boxer, that is not his style. He constantly wants to be in there and be given his best. And so, but in this fight, I think that when it comes to moments where he needs to manage the fight, he really needs to manage the fight. At the end of the day, look, it's not about your fighting pride. It's about getting the title and earning the status as a world champion. That is more important than how the performance that you put up.
Nats, I think Hans has raised an issue where if our trainers are listening, it's very critical.
Sure.
I think it was lack of this management of our boxers at a particular time in their fight that caused the defeat of Isaac Dogbe. A lot of Ghanaian boxers lost their fight because of some of this issue.
Even I caught it again.
Yes,
Oscar
our
Bada
trainers, they
well.
are good. With all respect, they are good, but not. You need to be creative. You need to have the foresight. Round 1, round 2, round 3. You should be able to know that, look, you know what? Change the game plan.
Absolutely.
Our trainers don't even know how to communicate with their boxers. When they come to recess, they have no idea on how to communicate with them. I saw a trainer slapped a boxer. He went and won a fight.
Yeah.
We all know.
So you need to manage your rounds.
Carl Loko, the same old Carl Loko, who's the initial trainer of Richard Comey. This was a fight that was on DSTV. He was in Nigeria. He slapped the boxer, and I was like,
I've seen a lot. I've seen Shane Mosley. I've seen Virgil Hunter, also go at Shane Mosley. I've seen a lot of. I've seen a trainer use the death of a fighter's father to motivate him to go in there and then snatch victory. And so it's very, very important how the corner communicates at various stages in the fight. There are moments where you need to make the person aware that, look, you are losing when he's actually winning, so that he will go in there and close it. And so
to give you motivation.
Corrales and
Diego Corrales,
Diego Corrales and his father, this deadly bloody fight. It has even gone viral on social media.
Sure.
When he went back, when he was losing the fight, the face was gone. The trainer told him, you can do it. He went and won that fight. So for me, I think that it is important also to make the point that Richard Comey, he knows where he's coming from. We've lost the WBO. Now Ghana is looking to see him winning this fight. That in itself is a motivation. And I heard him saying this, and I'm excited.
Let's be excited, but the excitement will come tomorrow when we wake up to the news. Some of us are going to be monitoring on ESPN and on the net, moment by moment. And of course, Richard Comey, when you visit his Instagram wall, his handle is at Richard Comey. When you visit his Instagram wall, he brings you pictures of him in his hotel room, lying down and just taking it easy and getting ready for that bout. Now, we'll be taking you into all of that in a bit. Let's do a round of commercials and continue the discussions here. Your messages will also feature very prominently. And of course, remember, later on in the show, we're going to discuss a bit of Kumasi Asante Kotoko and how good they're also looking going away to Sudan to start off their campaign in the CAF Confederation Cup. This is the Joy Sports Link, and this is where everyone else is when it comes to sports discussions on the weekend.
Time to make a proper claim of your willingness to go all the way. A time for the fans to scream, cheer, and suffer the pain. Time to get bolder on the European night on Joy 99.7 FM as the UEFA Champions League moves up a notch with mouth-watering clashes.
Cut the music! Charge your glass! He writes every headline.
So join me, George Addo Jr.
And me, Gary L. Smith, from the 12th of February to the 13th of March
for apt live commentary of the UEFA Champions League round of 16 games.
European Night on Joy 99.7 FM is proudly sponsored by Bet138.com, supported by DSTV and GoTV, and powered by Joy Sports, the thrill of the game.
Goes to two. What an absolute thrill.
All right, so it's just about 5 minutes past 1 p.m. We're doing a boxing discussion here, and just in case you do not know, Ghana is on the verge of international sporting glory. It's just one fight away from international sporting glory. As we speak, Ghana does not have a boxing world champion, but that could change by tomorrow morning, and that is if Richard Commey is able to see off Russia's Isa Chaniev in Texas later tonight. And of course, Richard Commey's manager, Michael Amubediako, has been speaking. He's been also looking ahead to this fight. He thinks that his boxer is ready and good to go.
Going into this fight, Richard has prepared very well, very diligently, had a great training camp with obviously his new trainer, Andre Rosier. Everything's gone well. He's had some great sparring, strength and conditioning. And speaking to Richard earlier on today, he's very upbeat and very positive about his chances of victory.
Okay, so there we go. You heard from Michael Amubediako, and there it is. Michael Amubediako came and held it from a certain point in, Richard Commey's career. But let's just get down to who Richard Commey is and where he has come from. Richard Commey comes from Jamestown in Accra, and his home shares a wall with the Bronx Gym, which is owned by, Carl Loko, whom Mohammed Amin Lamte has mentioned. Now, Carl Loko is Richard Commey's first trainer. I mean, unfortunately, they had to part ways after a while because of some differences.
And I'm really sad about that.
Yeah. Okay, so let's talk about it. I mean, the thing about parting ways, I know it's behind us now, but I look at Carl Loko and how much of his career he's invested in bringing up, and how now at this moment, I mean, it just eluded him, and
I think that it is sad to talk about this now, but I think that we have to make it clear that I indicated earlier that our trainers should understand themselves and know what they are about. Sometimes you would start a journey, but you need to hand over the baton at a point. And that is exactly why people will continue to accuse the trainer of Isaac Dugbe, because yes, the daddy was in his corner for all the difficult fight that the young man fought. But at the point, they believe that he needs to get some kind of helping hand to help him because of the bigger stage. Yes, the issue of Carl Loko, I don't have details of what brought about this problem, but I think that it is sad because I should not sit back to identify a boxer, discover him, groom, nurture him, take him to a level, and then at the point problems will just crop up and then you part company. I don't think that is right. But having said that, I think our boxers should also be very, very mindful about this. Some of them are very, very ungrateful. Sometimes it's not even coming from our managers or our trainers. You have a trainer spending his money, everything, as you indicated, invested his all to this boxer. Not only Richard Commey, you can talk about Duke Micah, you can talk about Frederick Lawson and what have you. Carl has done a lot for these boxers. So they should also understand that, yes, even if you get to a point where you need to have some kind of helping hand, or maybe somebody who is more professional, who has the know-how more than your trainer, you should know how to go through the transition. For me, this is the problem that I have. But I think that to all intents and purposes, I spoke to Carl Loko. He's now come himself. He was very excited that if Richard will win, because nobody can take away from Carl Loko being the first trainer. He discovered him. The guy was a kickboxer. He brought him into the limelight. He led him to this level. So I think that I want to use this medium to also tell Carl Loko that he is still a winner. Okay, if Richard, at the end of the day becomes a world champion, he will be given that credit. He has been part of the journey. He has been part of the dream. He has been part of the success.
But the question is, will Richard give him that credit?
He has to. He has to.
He has to. I was privy to.
Has to.
He has to.
And then doing it. They are two different things. They are two different things.
When he do it, we can't tell. But the point we are making is that he has to, because you see, we all need people to give us a helping hand in this life.
We start somewhere.
Exactly. And when somebody gives you that helping hand, and you get to the top, no matter what happens, you always need to give that person the credit. You might have the differences, but you always need to give that person the credit. I saw some of the issues crop up on social media, especially with Duke Micah, you know, and it was heart-wrenching. You understand? I felt that they should have thought about the fact that, look, he's human. He may have offended you, may have your issues with him, but you need to recognize the fact that he's done a lot of good things as far as your career and your growth as a person is concerned, and make those considerations, and whatever the issues are, at the very least, you don't bring it into the public domain. Handle it at your own level. Yes, you may split. Boxers split all the time. The father-son combination in boxing is something that is commonplace, but we constantly see, you know, a father and a son splitting as trainer and a fighter. We see it. Floyd Mayweather and his father. It's well documented. But you see, consistently, and we saw Floyd in his final fight against Andre Berto. You know, of course, he had another fight against, you know, an MMA fighter. But in that fight against Andre,
his final fight
was his final proper fight.
But I was told I was told he
final proper fight.
I was told he had a card in the night.
I don't want to count the Conor McGregor fight. That was a shoe.
Conor McGregor was a boxing
bout. I don't want to count it.
Okay, really? Today is not for that.
Because it does nothing to his record. Really, it makes no difference.
Okay.
But the point is that in the final round of that fight against Andre Berto, in the corner, we saw Mayweather hug his father and thank him, and made the point that everything he's been able to do is because of him.
Wonderful.
You know, you have to. They have their differences, but you need to recognize the people who have helped you to the top. And it's not limited to boxing. It cuts across all spheres of life. When somebody helps you and you fall out with a person, you need to give the person the credit. You can maintain the problems that you have with the person, but give the person the credit that the person is due.
Let me just make a quick point here.
Sure.
Not believe it or not, I believe in that. Majority of our boxers who could not make it to the top is due to this ungratefulness. I can tell Atai is here. Let's call a spade a spade. It is only in Ghana today where you have a boxer going through more than 7 managers within 1 year. You are with this manager, just after 1 or 2 problem you move to this manager, the next day you move to this manager, and then you have the boxer going on radio or going to the media to even castigate his previous managers. It happens. So as Hans is saying, yes, Richard and Carl Loko are no more, but I believe that when you get back to our culture, look, get back home, get to him, talk to him. I'm sorry about what happened. We can continue, even though you are not my trainer, but we can still live together. I think that is the way to go. So that is even going to help him out. Because for me, there are some people, when you show that ungratefulness to them, some of them, they are closer to God, though.
I mean,
You see, that is why I'm happy with Kaloko. With all these things that are happening, he spoke to me on social media, even copy some of the comment that
I read it extensively,
and I was shocked
with Duke Micah.
Duke Micah, I respect him so much. He's one of my guys I admire so much, and I couldn't believe that Duke Micah could even go on social media castigating, vilifying Kaloko today. So I think that it is high time that our boxers should try to learn from this. You should try to be grateful a bit.
We have Freddie Roach out of Pacquiao, but he's back, and they're closer than even before.
You see,
so this is it. I mean, when you have a fighter and anything happens, there's no point is going about castigating.
Okay. You see, quick point, Matt. Quick point, real quick. There is also the part that I don't know if it's Atai. Moving from one manager, one trainer to the other, it destabilizes a boxer's progress. That is what they don't realize.
It's true.
You understand me? Stability is very, very important to growth. If you are not stable, it is very, very difficult for you to grow and reach your full potential. And so, if you're a boxer and you fall out with a trainer and you move on to the next trainer, fall out with another trainer and move on to the next trainer, it destabilizes your own growth. As human as we are, we're always going to have problems. It is very important that you sort out the differences that you have and move on, because you see, always look at the bigger picture. There is a focus. There is something that you want to achieve. If you allow the petty issues to destabilize your own progress, I mean, you are going to have yourself.
Let me give you a tip. And many a times it is not these boxers, not you know more than I know. There are some young guys out there masquerading as boxing managers and matchmakers or whatever. These are the guys. who would have to go talk to these guys, whisper certain things in their ears, and you find things going this way. There are people who can easily sneak out boxers in this country. I know a boxer who was being managed by one of my friends, spending not cedis, dollars. I don't want to open that page. And you have one of our own people here. They sneak this guy out of this country to the United States, and this guy end up receiving money from this same manager in Ghana. He sent dollars.
Because he's struggling there.
Exactly, the guy is struggling. So you see, the point here is that in as much as you blame these boxers, most of them are unlettered. Logically, mentally, psychologically, they don't have the capacity. So this guy who think that they know more than they do, so they just know how to play around it. Somebody will go and spend money, groom a boxer, you sit somewhere, you identify the person, and then you want to create problem. So in as much as we advise these boxers and their managers, those guys out there masquerading as boxing connoisseurs and managers.
How do we manage these problems when we have guys out there, scattering our boxers?
The GBA would have to come very hard. We need to have the regulations.
Exactly.
The regulations must be there.
Absolutely.
During our time, let me tell you, during our time, I saw a contract. A contract that worth almost about $19,000.
Yes.
And this person went and cancelled the one. The one, so the one is gone, meaning 10,000 is gone already. And then the boxer knew that it is 9.
This is where
then Samir Captain, I saw it and I called his attention. So this is what is happening in Ghana boxing. But today, I think that these things gradually things are changing.
It hasn't changed. It hasn't changed. I was in the UK a couple of weeks ago, just 2-3 weeks ago. Right. To my surprise, I saw a boxer. I saw 2 boxers' name on the card. One
Ghanaians?
Yes, one was Charles Quay, and the other one was Charles Ademu. He was on the bill for the full 4 rounds that he was demanded to be in the ring. I mean, you couldn't see him as a boxer. There was no marks at all about him being a former.
You mean Charles
Ademu? He fought about 2-3 weeks ago in the UK. I was there. I was working. Yeah, I was working on the bill. He fought for 4 rounds and sat on his stool. He never came for the 5th round, and that was the end of the fight.
Can you imagine? Encountered as a Ghanaian boxer.
That's right. That's right.
You see, not there is a situation that we need to address. I think we need to have a proper, platform and address a situation that I think that we've turned a blind eye to or hypocritically condoning. There's a problem with Ghanaian boxing. And we've subtly highlighted some of it. The way some boxers are taken out there to better the records of other boxers.
Yeah,
it's there. Last year we saw several Ghanaian boxers who were nowhere near close to a world title shot, getting world title shots.
They were giving shots,
and then going there to disgrace themselves. And I think that is a situation that we really need to address.
Very, very important point raised there. We're still, here doing the discussions. We're looking ahead to that bout. Richard Commey versus Isa Chaniev of Russia. And that's happening later tonight. If everything goes well, Ghana will have yet another boxing world champion. Your thoughts are very much welcome. And of course, we'll be listening to some of the, goodwill messages as well. All of those will be here on the show. So we'll be looking forward to them. Remember, you can place them on our WhatsApp platform. It's 0244340437. So we've been taking the thoughts of some people as well on what they think would be happening later tonight. Let's take a listen.
Well, for Richard Commey, I believe he can win. It's about preparation, and if he thinks and he believes he's very prepared and ready for the bout, why not? I think what we have to do at this point is just give him our unwavering support and then wish and then hope he'll go and then win the fight.
Looking at Commey nowadays, I think based on his training and the things and the training I've been going through, I think this time around he will be able to sail through, because looking at Chaniev, he's not a tough boxer.
I think the whole Ghana is behind Richard Commey. This time around, he's going to bring the title back to Ghana. So he should go out there and do his best. Last 2 years, he couldn't do it. This time around, we know he's prepared very well. So he's going to bring the title back to Ghana. So we wish him all the best.
Call my name. They done read the 4 chapters.
Okay, so let's get on the phone line now and speak to a man who's been there before and who's seen it before, the King Kong, Joseph Agbeko. Thank you very much for your time, champ.
Yeah, thank you, boss. Thank you.
It's been a while. What have you been up to?
I've been around. I've been working underground. Yeah, I'm working.
Okay, working to make a return or just taking it easy and wrapping things up?
Working to make a return.
Okay, all right. We're going to be talking about that later on when you come and visit us in the studio. But, I mean, you've seen Richard Commey and his rise, and now that big moment is before him, just like that big moment was put before you in the year 2007, September, against Luis Alberto Perez. Tell me what you think Commey should do in these final hours getting up into the ring for that big moment.
I think he has to stay calm. He has to stay relaxed because definitely there will be a lot of pressure on him right now. But with the Commey, I think definitely he will make good use of this opportunity. I believe this is the time for him to become a champion. I know by the close of the day or by tomorrow morning, Ghana will be having another champion again in Richard Commey. Definitely, I won't compare both of them when it comes to technical issues like boxing because I think Commey has a lot of experience right now. He's been to a few wars and he's ready. The hunger is very, very high. He has worked very, very hard. He's been in the U.S. In training camp for a long time, and I believe nothing can take this away from him. I know definitely he will make it tonight.
Okay, nothing can take this away from him. What is that one thing, or what are those few things about Commey that make you so convinced that he is going to follow your lead later tonight? What are those things that you've identified about Commey that make you so confident about his ability to deliver tonight?
His hunger and his hard work. His hunger and his hard work.
I see. Take us back a few years when you had to prepare for that big moment. For those who work in the boxing underworld, they were throwing you up to the champion so he could just have a quick, fast one against you. Tell me how you mentally prepared yourself for that fight against Luis Alberto Perez.
I was very, very relaxed because it's every fighter's dream to fight for the world championship and also to become the champion. So whenever I get a chance to be at that position, it puts a lot of pressure on you. So I told myself that, hey, this is just like any fight. It's nothing special. I've worked hard. I'm defending. I know I have to beat this guy in front of me, but I didn't carry anything like I'm going to fight for a world championship because the mention of fighting for the world championship sometimes puts pressure on us. So I took it easy and then I was able to deliver.
Okay. So, Champ, I would like to say a very big thank you to you. And we're expecting you in the studio one of these days. Amin Lamte and Atta Eddie Papo and Hans are saying hello to you.
Yeah, I say hello to
I started with him when he was 8 years old.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah, great stuff. Okay, thank you very much. A lot of history lessons being taught us here in the studio as well. There's a message from Randy Abe. He says, interesting discussions regards to Atta Eddie Papo, Amin Lamte and Hans. It's a KO for Richard Commey. Wow, interesting stuff. Let's listen to more words of goodwill. This one is now coming from the man you just love so much. His name is Brian Makamoko Bukumbanko, a former WBO Africa light heavyweight champion.
Oh, he go win. Richie Commey, he's training hard. And I believe him. And I believe their coach. Well, everything is praying. Me, I don't wish anybody down for when I can't do it. Somebody go do it. Well, me I pray for all the Ghanaian bosses to be a world champion because world champion what nature. The time Azuma go, Aikwote go, Joshua Kote go, Agbogo go. We don't get anything. I'm a champion, but God are no blessing. Yes, he's my brother. I'm forgetting. sorry, Isaac, if you listen to me, he also is a world champion. You know, we have the good boxers in the nation.
Okay, so you think that Richard Comey is going to win?
Oh, master, he go win it totality, no total. He go win it totality because he's a Ghanaian. I'm a Ghanaian.
You've heard from Brian Makamoko Bukumbanku. So you also tell me what you think. Now, Bernard from La Paz says, I'm wishing Richard Comey all the best and also to make Ghana proud. There's this other message from Cyril. Cyril says, Nat, I can't express my joy at the inputs your distinguished panel are making. Amin, Hans, and Ata Eddie Papo. I love those guys. I sincerely wish Team Comey listens to this live and victory will be Ghana's. And he says, I have love for sports too. I hear you, Cyril. Text messages or WhatsApp messages on 0244340437. Okay, there's this one that says Richard Comey, and he spells it K-O-M-I. Well, Richard Comey's name is spelled C-O-M-M-E-Y. So he says Richard Comey should have taken some kinky along for more strength and energy. Please, he shouldn't eat anyhow. More kinky and akple for more knockouts. He can ask Dogbe. This is from Afrigogo from Gbogbo City. Where's Gbogbo City anyway? Okay, all right. So I'm told that is another name for Agbogbloshi, the market center in Accra. Okay, well, so more messages welcome here on the Joy Sports Link on Joy 99.7 FM. Okay, says this one says, Nat, will you telecast the fight? Kelly from Buduburam. Unfortunately, no. We the Joy News channel, Joy Prime, does not have the rights to publish it. But it's going to be on ESPN, and of course, we're going to be sharing links with you on the Joy FM wall and the Joy Sports walls on Facebook, so that we can all monitor the fight. So this thing about diet, and you guys tell me something. I mean, look. I remember that, I remember back in New York, in Manhattan, where, former world champion Ike Bazooka Quarte is preparing for a fight, and, he just gets some good kinky together. And the interesting thing is that sometimes when you go to New York, you eat kinky that sometimes matches. That's what we eat in Jamestown. Right. It matches it boot for boot. I mean, punch for punch.
And the price.
Oh well, it's all good. I mean, hey,
if the price knocks out the local price.
Absolutely. What is it about preparing for a fight and identifying with your roots through your food, your music, and what does it do? Tell me about it.
For me, I think let me begin with the music and probably certain things that you do back at home. But when it comes to the diet, when you are organizing yourself to make the weight, I don't think that your kinky or banquet, whatever, if you are shedding weight, if you want to increase weight and what have you, there are things that you need to do. And Atayadi will tell you, sometimes when boxers are ready for the weigh in, you see them totally disorganized because most of them have to go into fasting. Because if you dare go eat, you come overweight, you will have to go and shed some weight. So when it comes, exactly, maybe I don't know. Hours before the fight, I don't think that is advisable for you to go in for any heavy food. No.
But this one I'm telling you is the day before.
Day before.
Yes.
After the weigh-in.
Yes.
After the weigh-in.
After the weigh-in. Yes,
after the weigh-in, you can take.
Of course, yes.
Because you need to have a dietitian that will tell you that after even eating your kenke, you need to have some juice or maybe something that can help to. You understand?
With some of the sanctioning bodies, you're not allowed to go above certain weight. I think about 10 years after the weigh-in. Yeah. You sort of controlled, to be within certain weight. But then we have problems with some of our boxers walking around with certain, unwarranted weights. If you know you are featherweight, that is 126 pounds limit. It's good to always to be around super feather, just a few pounds above your weight class.
Yeah, so that then when you start working out, it becomes easier to shed the weight.
Because I've seen certain instances where we go for weighing, certain boxers will have to even go and shave their private parts.
Yeah,
so they can
make the weight.
Some have to remove
everything.
And that is exactly what caused Bukom Banku or Brahma Kamoko against Basti Samuel, because he reduced so much of weight.
He's not disciplined then as a boxer. If you're a boxer of that caliber, you must have a trainer. You must have managing, people who manage you to always constantly, check your weights. It is one of the conditions, set up by your management. They must always make sure you are within a certain weight category. So when it's time for you to go for your weighing, it doesn't really tell on you.
Okay.
If you understand what I'm saying.
Interesting stuff happening there.
An instance where a boxer, a very popular boxer, a lady as well, had to take everything after he was given.
A lady?
Yeah, a lady.
Female boxer.
Was a female boxer. A very
in Ghana here?
No, over there in South Africa, in Joburg.
Really?
She had to.
Sheikh, remember, later this year you have to start fasting. So take your mind off these things.
No, I just want to find out. I need to get a clarification. But I think that let me just make the point that I'm excited that my boss Randy Abe is listening. He's one person who loves boxing so much, and I don't know.
Sometimes see him in the corner.
Yeah, once football is giving us some headache, we need Randy into boxing to come and help us out.
Okay, so so everybody, so this is a message to Randy Abe. There's a request that you get into boxing, and I know the name that will be registered for the promotional outfit already, and it will be called Davi Boxing Promotions. Nobody should ask me why. Davi Boxing Promotions, headed by Radiabe. It's interesting that ahead of time, people are already talking about, Kome winning the title and then, possibly facing off with WBA champion Vasyl Lomachenko. Yeah. You've heard all of that talk already.
WBO as well.
Yeah.
It's going to be a unification fight.
It is so because of the critical analysis that people have made before this fight. Because let's face it, if you are doing a critical analysis of the two boxers, you can easily anticipate what is going to happen. That is why myself and Hans have looked into the crystal ball and said that, look, you know what?
There's big money coming up.
Exactly. When it gets to the crunch, I know, Richard is going to win via a knockout.
And I love the sound of big money. I mean, Richard has been through it. His mother is a kenke seller.
Really?
And they live, in Jamestown, not too far away from the Bible House, just off the high street. And I'm yet to meet his mother, but I remember once Kome did something very important. He won one of his fights, and one of my colleagues wanted to interview him. He looked at the time and said, "Oh my goodness, so sorry. I need to go and carry my mother's kenke to the spot where he sells it."
Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Okay, so if anybody deserves, if any Ghanaian boxer at this moment deserves the big money, it's Richard Kome, because I don't think that he's cut corners in his career as we've seen other boxers do. I think that he's honed and nurtured the ambition of becoming a world champion diligently. and if he wins the title and all the glory and all the money that comes with it, he deserves it. Look, I mentioned earlier on how certain Ghanaian boxers last year had world title opportunities, and you could tell from their performance that they were not the least bit concerned about the title. They just wanted to go in there and then get their share of the purse and go their way. It wasn't about a world title for them. It wasn't about the glory. It wasn't about representing Ghana properly. And I watched those fights and I felt sad. I felt sad because I looked at Ghana's boxing legacy and the people that had made sacrifices to cement those legacies, the work they had put in, and watching those boxers in the ring, simply fail or refuse to represent the country. It was sad. But you look at Richard Comey and how long has he been talking about this? If you look at how he lost against Robert Easter Jr. and went on to lose against Shafikov, many a boxer would have been broken mentally and not have been able to pick the pieces and return. But we saw how mentally he showed a lot and got himself in this position. If any boxer currently deserves a world title, a Ghanaian boxer deserves a world title, and the money and all that comes with it, for me, it has to be Richard Comey. And let me mention to the corporate entities out there, if Richard Comey wins a world title and comes back to Ghana, that is one brand that you can associate with and get a lot of mileage out from. I think that if you associate your brand with Richard Comey, he'll represent the brand properly as a person, as a human being. He holds the right values. You mentioned how even after winning a fight on the international stage, he's thinking about going to carry his mother's kinky to the sport that his mother has to sell it. That is somebody who has been brought up, or that is somebody that can represent your brand with the right values and get you the right mileage that you deserve. And so, nobody deserves it more than Richard Comey at this moment in time. We're all praying that he wins a world title tonight.
I'm excited, by those kind words. There is a tentative date set for the winner of this fight tonight to meet Lomachenko. Yes, there is a thing. I think it's 12th of April.
Tentatively.
Okay. That's right. Whoever wins this fight, there's big money out there.
That's big.
Let me make a quick. You see,
I've been thinking about the best pound for pound boxer we have right now on the planet. So if he is able to make it, I think Ghana is going to be very happy.
Let me even look ahead to that Lomachenko fight. Look, he's probably the best we have in the world right now. Top quality boxer. In a fight against Richard Comey will go in as a huge underdog. But I tell you what, I would probably look at that fight and think that Comey can actually win it, because I've seen a lot of Lomachenko fights and I don't think that his opponents have gone in there giving a proper fight. Because I watched him against Rigondeaux, and if you know Rigondeaux and the way he fights and how he fought against Vasyl Lomachenko, you'll be wondering what was that. And for him to quit, at a certain point, I think round 9, he didn't respond to the bell in round 9 or so. He didn't give me a proper fight. I think Richard Comey will give any boxer out there proper fight on any day.
This is where
that is what gives me.
This is where I'll not be on the same page with.
He could actually win.
Lomachenko, for now, let me hold that.
Looks unbeatable.
Let me hold it now. That guy is durable, is unpredictable.
But guys,
is unpredictable.
I dare say that Richard Comey can pull a shot against Lomachenko.
Guys, without wanting to side with Hans, look, I remember when Joshua Clottey was going to fight Manny Pacquiao. I heard analysis like it's a mismatch. He was
going to be
Pacquiao was going to tear, practically tear Joshua apart and all of that. Even against Floyd Mayweather Jr., we heard people say, "Oh, come on." We even heard when Floyd Mayweather Jr. was going to fight against an MMA fighter in, Conor McGregor. There were some senior analysts all over the world who were saying, "Oh, look, he's going to completely destroy Floyd Mayweather."
Let me say this.
I said to myself, guys, hold it a little bit.
Let me say
Lomachenko is the
huge
best now.
He's huge.
He's
now,
huge.
let's break down Vasyl Lomachenko technically.
No, Hans,
and
let's wait. When that fight comes, we can do that analysis. Now, let me say this. No, I believe that Joshua Clottey was not ready for Man Pacquiao. I will continue to say this because even before the fight, I said, look, when it comes to heavy punch, Joshua has it. He has everything. He has the bigger size. He has everything. The longer reach and everything.
There were loads of factors there were loads of factors that led to that loss.
He was not ready for the fight.
And trust me, Manny Pacquiao would not want to fight Joshua.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You see, so you realize that there are at certain stages when he lands hefty punches, Man Pacquiao
was telling.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So the point for me,
damage.
Joshua was not ready for that fight. I keep on saying repeatedly.
You hold that thought there. We've gotten on the phone line the president of the Ghana Boxing Supporters Union. Now, when you enter the Bukom Boxing Arena for every single fight night, they are very prominent. Now, if you know the setting of the arena, when you enter through the main entrance, they are on your right at the top. It's their permanent spot. It's their unofficial permanent spot. Steve Ash is president of the Boxing Supporters Association. Steve Ash, thank you for your time.
Thank you, sir.
You have a goodwill message for, Richard Comey. Let's hear it.
Oh, yeah, I have a good message for Richard Comey. We, the Ghana Boxing Supporters, we are praying for him and we are praying that he should win this fight. We are behind him in everything, the spirit and prayers and everything. And we believe that for the way Richard Comey is determined to bring this title home, so we are praying that by round 3, something can change.
Round 3 is very early,
Yeah, we know it's very early, but we know what we are saying. I know what I'm saying, and I'm telling before God and man. Boxing, one blow make a difference.
Sure.
And if the blow that is to make the difference, it's going to come from Richard Comey. Believe in me.
Wow.
Yeah.
Interesting stuff there.
I'm telling you, we are at the Bukom this evening. We are going to do the bonfire. With the street that we are going to show the fight. We are going to do whatever we have to do in this country because we are determined for us to go to America to go and watch this fight and support the guy over there. But unfortunately, it does not work for us. But I believe when we bring the title and we are going to defend it, we are going with him. And it's going to be massive.
Steve Ash, thank you so much.
Thank you, sir.
Well, so you heard it right there. The Ghana Boxing Supporters Union are predicting a third round victory for Richard Comey. So let's see how it goes. And it's amazing that everybody just keeps talking about Comey's discipline, his discipline.
No, Nats, we know who Ghanaian boxers are. When it comes to Azuma Nelson, he's uncomparable. He's irreplaceable because of his attitude, his behavior in the ring and off the ring. So I think that the next person that for me who brought this thing into boxing was Isaac Dogbe. Very, very disciplined. He knows what to say and what to do. Unfortunately, he lost the title. I think Richard Comey is one boxer that we can say that is quite a bit disciplined. And then you were given as an antecedent a scenario where before an interview he was going to carry Kenke for his mom. How many of us will do this? The moment you get to a level in your career, certain things that you're supposed to do at home, you think that you are a big boy now, time to leave or time to go. So I think that he deserves it, and this is, for me, it's a clarion call to other boxers, or if you like, any athlete or any sports person. You need to be very disciplined, because sometimes when I speak to him on phone, I mean, you can see the humility. He tells you that this young man is such a smart guy. When he wants you to do a story for him, he wants you to carry up something for him, he knows how to approach you. So these are the things, these are the values that we think that our boxers, the young up and coming, should learn, because regardless of your talent, if you're not disciplined, if you're not obedient, forget it. So I think that he deserves every accolade.
Okay, he deserves every accolade indeed. We're gonna switch onto the football pitch in a bit, and then after that we will invite your phone calls. Remember, it is 0302216541. We'll do that in a bit, but remember, we're building up to that very big bout. It's Richard Comey going up against Isa Shaniev of Russia for the IBF lightweight title, and that's happening in Texas. Of course, we surely will be doing a lot of updates on social media later tonight, and we surely will be giving you links that you can follow to watch that bout as well, as we all give Richard Comey the needed spiritual support to get up there and rise up to the occasion. We will be doing a lot more. We'll be discussing Kumasi Asante Kotoko and their chances in a bit before getting a few phone calls, and then we get to the finish line. This is the Joy Sports Link here on Joy 99.7 FM.
It's time to separate the boys from the men. Time to make a proper claim of your willingness to go all the way. A time for the fans to scream, cheer, and suffer the pain. Time to get bolder on the European night on Joy 99.7 FM as the UEFA Champions League moves up a notch with mouth-watering clashes.
Cut the music! Charge your glass! He writes every headline.
So join me, George Addo Jr.
And me, Gary L. Smith, from the 12th of February to the 13th of March.
For apt live commentary of the UEFA Champions League round of 16 games.
European Night on Joy 99.7 FM is proudly sponsored by Bet138.com, supported by DSTV and GoTV, and powered by Joy Sports, the thrill of the game.
Goes to two. What an absolute thrill.
Okay, so let's do a bit of football before inviting your comments on phone. And let's take a listen to the head coach of Kumasi Asante Kotoko, CK Akono, an ex-Ghana captain. And they're looking forward to starting off on a good note. We take a listen to him ahead of this game.
We've seen the way they play. There were 3 tapes in terms of their games. And the last 3 games, previous game they played. And so we have a rough idea of how they play, and so we also have a plan. We train, and exercise on the way we want to, the way forward. So we've in a way prepared for this match. Hopefully, whatever we've done can be transformed into the game on Sunday, and make sure we do the right thing at the right time and get a good result.
And this is a big challenge because you're starting an Africa campaign in the group stages since 2008. This is the first time Kotoko are playing in the group stages, and you are starting this challenge. How big is it for you?
It's big. It's big for me. It's big for the players as well. The players are there to make names for themselves. If today we can still talk about the Razaks and the Upuku African, that means they've done something. That is what I've told them. It's their turn now to make sure they make the names, their name, and I'm very sure they will do their best to get a good results.
Okay, so there we go. That's the man CK Akono, and we'll be getting on the phone line to one of our correspondents with Inshira Sports, and he's there in Sudan with Kumasi Asante Kotoko to cover that game. So we surely will be reaching him. Nanajman of Multimedia Sports, specifically with the Inshira FM or Inshira Sports operation. He's there in Sudan. Nana, thank you very much for your time. Tell me what's been happening in these final hours as we build up to the game.
In this final hour in Sudan. Let me start from in the morning. The team officials, Asante Kotoko team officials this morning attended the pre-match technical meeting, and when they came back, they announced that everything is fine, everything is well okay, and the game is still coming on tomorrow as planned by CAF, and then all the officials are in town. Al Hilal officials also, they met them at the pre-technical meeting, and they held a wonderful meeting. So as I'm speaking to you now, we are all waiting to go to training at the match venue around 5 p.m. Sudan time. That will be around 3 p.m. Ghana time. So we are still in our hotel, relaxing. All the boys are relaxing, waiting for the 5 p.m. to reach them. We go to the match venue to have our training there.
Very well. Now, we're also told that you got, some goodwill extended to Asante Kotoko because of the good name that Coach Kwesi Appiah left there coaching Al Khartoum.
Oh, yes, of course. Yesterday, for instance, Coach Kwesi Appiah's former club, that is Al Khartoum, because of the good name Kwesi Appiah left in this country, so they offered their training grounds to Asante Kotoko to have their training session. They gave them their AstroTurf training grounds. So we held the training, Asante Kotoko team held the training at the AstroTurf Stadium last night under floodlight. So everything was fine after training. The officials of the Al Khartoum team He came closer to us, spoke to us, told us a lot about the Al Hilal team and their fans and their stadium. So, in fact, they've been very, very marvelous. They've given us a nice reception in Sudan here, especially the Al Khartoum officials.
Tell me about the local fans and how much they are looking forward to this game.
Yesterday, the day we got to Sudan, we couldn't find lots of people inside because yesterday was a holiday in Sudan. Because, they choose Fridays as a day for worshiping God. They go to their various churches to worship God. So they don't actually work on Fridays. So yesterday was a holiday here. We couldn't see a lot of people in town. But on the day we arrived in Sudan, lots of the supporters, lots of the local people in Sudan, they were telling us they are going to be Asante Kotoko. Even at the hotel Kotoko is lodging right now. The workers over there, the receptionists, everyone who comes there, whenever they see Asante Kotoko team, they will start saying they will beat Asante Kotoko. Some even predict 4-0, 2-0, 3-1, 2-0, 2-1, and a whole lot of predictions have been going on. In fact, this morning, I walked through the principal street of Khartoum, and lots of them were still saying they will beat Asante Kotoko. Apart from Al Khartoum supporters, whom they feel because of Coach Kofi Appiah and their current coach, Prince Osu, the former Interlight and Mediama head coach, he is now the head coach of Al Khartoum. Because of them, they feel they have to support Asante Kotoko because at least they've done a lot for their club. And also, the rivals of Al Hilal, that is Amarek, their supporters are also saying they are supporting Asante Kotoko because they feel recently they played in the CAF Champions League also. They lost in Nigeria and they are back in the country. And all they are saying is that they are supporting Al Hilal because they want Asante Kotoko to defeat them since Al Hilal are their rivals. So if you come to Sudan and you walk through the principal street and you talk to the fans in the street, on the street, all they are saying is that they will beat Asante Kotoko, they beat Asante Kotoko, but their rival supporters, the supporters of Al Hilal, Amarek and also Al Khartoum, they are all behind Asante Kotoko. So that is how it's going on here now.
Nana, thank you so much, and of course we're going to be keeping tabs and working with you as we look ahead to that game. Thank you so much. Nana Jiman is with Multimedia Sports, and he is there with Team Kumasi Asante Kotoko as they look forward to opening their CAF Confederation Cup campaign against Al Hilal of Sudan. Now, remember that the Joy Sports link is all over the country, including our partners Radio Max in Takoradi. So every other Saturday, if you're in Takoradi, you can listen to the Joy Sports link via our partners Radio Max. And talk about Takoradi, there's a message here. It says, CK has really surprised me with the level of work he has done with the Kotoko team. I'm overly confident that he and the team will qualify from the group. I'm extremely impressed and hopeful. And this is from Joe in Takoradi. Joe, thank you very much for your message. So once again, big greetings to all of our friends who are listening to us in Takoradi via Radio Max. So 0302-216-541 0302-216-541. Let's get a few phone calls before calling it a show here on the Joy Sports Link. Asante Kotoko seem to be having some form of revival under CK Akono. Gradually things seem to be working.
I'm super excited, Nat. I'm super excited. Kudos to the bankroller, Dr. Che. For me, is the first person that I have to, congratulate for such a huge gamble that he took, and the CK Akono as the trainer and the players as well. Because the challenges that they've gone through, especially when they played against Ash Gold in the President Kufuor Cup, I think that it wasn't good for them. But they were able to, mop up. They were able to rise to the occasion. For me, I think that is good for the team. Now that they are going for this game in Sudan, I think it's a very good test. But I believe that Kotoko can really come out with something that will be very good for them before their next game.
Okay, let's see how all of it goes for Kumasi Asante Kotoko as they go up against Al Hilal of Sudan to start the campaign. So 0302-216-541 0302-216-541. Hello, good afternoon, and thank you for joining us on the Joy Sports Link.
Good afternoon. This is Fred Amwa.
Oh, Fred, great to have you on the show.
Definitely. You guys know I'll be listening. I'm very, very happy with the trend you guys are taking, the trajectory that you guys are taking on boxing. I think it's very, very important for us to understand the issue of discipline and then structures in our boxing. That would ensure that, I think one of you mentioned what is happening between boxers who change managers probably 7 times in a year. I think that, like somebody said, the Ghana Boxing Authority needs a lot of work to structure some of these things so that people cannot just jump. Because it allows the charlatans to come in and push wedges between boxers and their managers and their trainers. And that makes it very difficult for the boxers to progress on a planned trajectory. Because if you keep changing managers and coaches, it always changes your strategy. So I just don't want to take your time too much, but I think this is a good discussion that you guys are having.
Thank you very much, Fred Amoah. Fred Amoah is actually a former head of Joy Sports as well. Now ventured into marketing communications. Let's take this message as well. It says, my name is Mame Ajwa and I'm in favor of Richard Comey getting a knockout. A KO in favor of Richard Comey. This is from Mame Ajwa. Thank you very much, Mame Ajwa. A few minutes to wrap up the show here. We're looking forward to two major sporting events this weekend. Richard Comey fighting for the world title, and of course is the IBF lightweight title against Isa Chaniev of Russia. Hello, good afternoon.
Hello, good afternoon. How are you?
I'm great. Thanks for asking. My name is Nathaniel. What's yours?
My name is Afrigogo. I'm calling from Agboglosi.
Afrigogo, please go ahead.
You see, I want to advise Asante Kotoko players. They should stay away from the green bottles. You see, in the evening, you see them in the club drinking. That is why the stomach is growing bigger. They are losing their match. Now they stop drinking the distance. They are winning their match. They should stop drinking that one and drink the Burkina. I wish them good luck. Why?
Thank you very much. Thank you for that message. Well, I don't know about those green bottles. I haven't seen any of them drink. Okay, gentlemen, time not necessarily our best friend right now. So final thoughts and final comments as we get ready to wrap it up here. Amin Lamte first.
No, very well. Thank you for having me. I'm excited and want to thank my colleagues Hans, my big boss, and Teddy Papo, my grandfather in boxing, for being with them today.
And you know, Teddy looks 45.
No, as for him, I know the secret. You later see me in chambers. I'll give it to you.
Including the fact that he doesn't drink water and doesn't
very well. And, let me also once again say good afternoon to my boss Randy Abe. It's exciting. I'm listening to us. No, we will not bring it. We'll make rather. Randy.
Do you know the meaning of that name? I'll tell you after the show.
Don't say it on air.
I just wish Richard.
Don't say it on air.
Okay.
I mean, I've been in illustrious company. Always a pleasure to be in the midst of Mr. Amin Lamte and Ataedi. I think that Ghanaians can look forward to a 10th world title for the country. I don't think that there has to be a lot that has to go against Richard Comey. I only hope that the decision doesn't have to come via the scorecards. I think that he has to go in there and try to get a KO and get a title.
Okay, Ataedi, you have the final word.
Well, I think some of our boxers need to ask for, neutral officials in fights.
Okay.
That's what I think. I mean, Richie always says he's had a raw deal. So I think at this time, or at this point in time, he should have asked for a neutral.
Okay.
A neutral judge.
Okay. Let's see how all of it goes. Ataedi Papo, thank you very much. Thank you very much to Mohamed Amin Lamte and, of course, Hans Mensah Ando. Thanks to Selwyn for production on social media, and thanks to Enoch Fifi Forsen for being the technical producer for today. It's been great sharing your company as always, and of course look out for next Saturday when I bring you another sermon for you, the beloved people in sport. Say a prayer for Richard Comey, will you? And happy blessed birthday to Mrs. Adiviti Esuman from your husband Albert Nana Esuman of Stan Chart. Happy belated birthday to my own sister, Dr. Catherine Atobeko, Tema General Hospital, 37 Military Hospital. And also, happy birthday to you. Happy 30th. We're still celebrating this weekend. Nalamle Anang, happy blessed birthday to you. This is how we wrap it up here. Like I mentioned to you, say a prayer for Richard Comey, will you? Because when the glory comes, we will all share it together. My name is Nathaniel Atto, and I have love for sport.